Okay, so welcome everybody to the post-draft analysis for the Columbus Colosseum Season 3. Now I have 16 teams, which is very exciting. Me, Clayton, Sam, James, and Brian all got together last night and spent like 3 hours recording a super in-depth analysis of each team where we each got to say our piece on how we felt about each team and all that. Finished I think it ended up being like 3.5 hours. We were going to put timestamps so everybody could just skip to their team and see what we thought. I only recorded the first 10 minutes of it. So now I am going to go through them in a briefer fashion because I don't have the mental fortitude to do a 3.5 hour analysis again. So I'm going to go through real quick, mention things that I like or don't like about each team, and at the end you'll see how I ranked them. We're going to start at the teams that I thought had the worst drafts and go through until we get to the team that I had the best draft. A disclaimer, these are my opinions as well as some opinions that I'm going to throw in that I remember from the other guys. You drafted your team, so it's likely that you see something that I don't, or have a reason that you wanted a Pokemon that I don't see. Also, if it seems like I'm shitting all over your draft, I'm not trying to do that. I think everybody's draft was actually pretty good. There's no team that I look at and I'm like, yeah, that team's a pushover. I can just blow through them. In fact, the team that I ranked the lowest, I think would have been in our 12-team league last year, somewhere around the 6th or 7th best draft. So good job to everybody on just drafting really well. The things I was looking for in a good team were solid offensive and defensive typings. Particularly, do you have a steel type? Do you have a fairy type, a dark type, ground type, a grounded poison that can absorb toxic spikes, flying type, and solid water resists? And are these Pokemon that you can bring every week and not feel like you're forced to bring them every week, that they're Pokemon that you want to be bringing? Do you have good speed tiers? Not just do you have a bunch of fast Pokemon. It's important to have a wide spread of speeds to force people to get more creative or force them to run plus speed natures if they want to outspeed stuff. Do you have good hazard control? Particularly, do you have multiple rock setters and other hazards? And do you have defoggers that you want to run defog on? Do you have good options to maintain momentum, like U-turn, Volt Switch, Teleport, Baton Pass? Do you have good cleric options, Heal Bell, Wish Passing, just general support stuff? And then just, in general, looking at your team, am I scared to play it? Like if I see you on my schedule, am I marking that as, okay, have to really plan ahead for this one? So let's get started. So the team that I think had 16th best draft is the South Central Corphish, coached by Eli. Dark 30 is his Discord tag. So things that I see that I like about this team. First, Tapu Lele was so fun to use last season. I love that mon. Gives you a Pokemon that you can just put specs on and kill things. That's usually probably what you should be doing. There's the odd week where you're going to need to run Scarf, or you feel like running a Sub Calm Mind or something really weird. But in general, you can just put specs on something. Click Psychic, click Moonblast, Focus Blast, Psyshock. Like Psyshock 2 shots Chansey, which is insane. So just no switch-ins. So just an easy-to-use wall breaker that you can't really do anything against if you're the opponent, besides try to not let it come in for free, is very valuable to have. Mega Venusaur, really good. I'm going to harp on this throughout this whole thing. Grounded Poison, really important to have. Really important to have a grounded poison that you can bring every week, because toxic spikes are OP. There was multiple matches last season that people won or lost just based on toxic spikes. So having a way to get rid of those without having to defog or rapid spin and use a turn is very useful. And also, just in general, discouraging your opponent from bringing them is very useful. Other things I like, you have 3 solid rockers. Well, 2 solid rockers in Torkoal, that's pretty good. Your other hazard options are pretty lacking. I think that's it. I don't think you have any options for Spikes, Webs, or Toxic Spikes, which is not ideal. Audino, you can bring that every week if you want to. Great Cleric, Wish Passing with Regenerator, gets Heal Bell, gets Toxic, is surprisingly bulky, is immune to Ghost types, which is really big. Just a really solid mon. I think Aerodactyl is really good. Gives you a really fast Pokemon that can set rocks, can taunt, can defog, or can run offensive sets with stuff like Rockhead. Really solid. So I guess there are issues with the team, though, in my opinion. You've got great speed tiers. Really good spread. You have really fast Pokemon in Aerodactyl. You have mid-speed, mid-fast with Heliolisk. Then you have like Lele, Venusaur, Dracozolt, Kingdra, just kind of going down the line. It's really hard to run Adamant or Modest against this team without choosing to not outspeed certain things, which is very valuable, as that adds a lot more damage than you'd expect. The issue, though, is if you remember back to those typings that I said were very valuable, you don't have a Steel type, which that's really, really tough. Not having a Steel type is very bad. Not having a Dark type, also pretty bad. Though, in my opinion, those 2 and Fairy type are, along with Ground type, are probably the 4 most important types to have. You have a great Fairy type, you have a great Ground type. Steel and Dark, you do not have. So you don't have any Dark resist besides, no, you just don't have a Dark resist, which is a problem because your Fairy is a Psychic type, so the need for a Dark type is even more. You don't have a Steel type, so if somebody has Freeze Dry, Torkoal is your only thing that wants to eat a Freeze Dry. Obviously, Mega Venusaur can tank it somewhat, but it's still going to take a chunk. And also Ghost types. Obviously, Audino can cover that some, but it's really nice to have a Dark type for Ghost types. Also, to kill Ghost types. Having Stab Knockoff, extremely valuable. Immune to Prankster. It's just a really, really solid type to have. So I think the reason that this wasn't picked up on this team is because you clearly really wanted to go with a Weather team. I think Weather is actually incredibly powerful, and I understand why you wanted to do it. I think you're going to end up feeling like you have one that you like better than the others, or two that you want to keep and a third one that you can get rid of. And once you figure out what that third one you want to get rid of is, then you can pick up your Steel and Dark type. That'll be really solid. And then I think Sam brought up, he really wanted me to say that you should drop Pelipper. And also brought up that Synthesis from Mega Venusaur is nerfed in Sand and Rain and buffed in Sun. So that's something to consider. Yeah, just in general, your team is very solid. You just need to pick up a Steel and a Dark type and pick two types of weather, because you also have a really hard time dealing with any team that deals with weather well. So you've kind of pigeonholed yourself into a pretty small niche. And I think Lele can make up for a lot of that because it just kills things. But that's why basically not having a Steel and Dark type is, and having kind of awkward synergies in some places, is the reason that you got ranked here. And just as a note for anybody, if you want a more in-depth or like any things that I'm looking at on the tier list that I think could benefit your team or any advice in that sense, feel free to reach out. Always down to Theorycraft, one of my favorite things to do in Pokemon. So, why I'm in Draft League. Okay, moving on. The East Aurora Aggron. This is a team that I looked at and I was like, man, this team is really good. I'm really scared of this team. And then the more I looked at it, the more weaknesses I started finding. Starting off with good things, Mega Scizor, Latios, arguably the two best. Like, after 2 rounds, you may have had the best team. I think Tyranitar is really solid as a special wall. I think picking up Alolan Ninetales, very valuable, has Freeze Dry, can do Aurora Veil, can run offensive or support, and can help you reset sand turns if you need to. Thundurus, I think that's a solid pickup. Good defogger, it gets Boots and Prankster. Really good. Prankster bulk up is surprisingly good. Poltegeist gives you Ghost Stab, which is very nice. And is just a threat to sweep. Gets Strength Sap. Strength Sap's a broken move. Seismitoad is good. I'm kind of awkward out of rain, but it's still solid. You don't really have anything else that's super weak to grass, so it works out well. Cinescorch is awesome. Love that Pokemon. It's really, really good with heavy-duty boots. Surprisingly tanky. Coil sets are really good. Fire Lash is a really good move. Flame Body, awesome ability. Flash Fire, awesome ability. Piloswine, I love. I love Mamoswine. I love Piloswine. I think that was a really good pick. Bouffalant, I think it's funny. I don't really know much about Bouffalant, but it's funny. Vileplume, really good pickup. Gives you that grounded poison. Gets Strength Sap, just like I said, broken move. Strength Sap, Sleep Powder, kills fairies, kills ground types, kills water types. Very good. Jirachi is kind of awkward on this team. Is one of the reasons that I have a little bit of a problem with it. Jirachi's awkward. It kind of, with Latios covering Psychic and Mega Scizor covering Steel, I'm not exactly sure what Jirachi is doing on this team. Again, you may see something I don't, because obviously Jirachi is an incredible mon. Not trying to argue that it's bad. I just don't see what it adds to your team. And I think there's a lot of good tier 3s that you could pick up in place of it. Other thing, your speed tiers are very, very, very awkward. You have Latios at 110, Tornadus at 111. Both of those are good. Jirachi at 100, Ninetales at 109. So you have 4 things 100 or above. After that, your next fastest thing is Mega Scizor at 75. So anything with like 85 to 99 speed does not have to run speed against your team. It can go into bulk. It can go into running adamant or modest if it's a breaker. It allows people to EV so that your fast mons can't kill them and they can revenge kill them. It makes it awkward to play around, having nothing in the middle speed tier there. So finding something with like between 85 and 90 base speed that you can pick up would be really big for your team, I think. Other thing, you don't have anything that really benefits from hail or sand very much. You don't have any Sand Rush or Sand Force mons, unless there's one of these things gets an ability that I don't realize. You don't have a Slush Rush or Ice Body or anything like that. I think it'd be valuable just to pick up something like Sand Slash Alola, Lichen Rock, Beartic, something along those lines, just to force people to plan around it. Even if you bring it one time, I think it's just a good thing to have. So I think not realizing that potential is tough. Other thing is, you have rocks, but you don't have any other hazards, which again is not great. I think having spikes at a minimum is very valuable. But really the thing that in my mind knocks you down is Jirachi's awkward. Jirachi's really awkward, and you don't have good speed tiers, and that really hurts you, I think. Not having anything between 100 and 75 is going to be rough, I think. Again, that means you're like 1 mon away from fixing probably half of the issues of this team, which, that takes 1 week. So I think you're going to be fine. I'm not really concerned, but as the team is right now, I think it's got some pretty big weaknesses. Okay. Number 14, the Anaheim Lickilicky, newly relocated from LA. Looking at this team, you can tell that the coach, Zihao Dumpling Yes, he has played Gen 1 and he's played Gen 8 Draft League with us, and that's it. That's been evident in a couple of his drafts and hasn't really hurt him. He's made it to the playoffs both seasons. He got like 5th or something the first season, which was crazy. He beat, I think he beat James in playoffs, which, that was impressive. And he made playoffs again last year, so he's obviously knows what he's doing in battle. And he's had good drafts. I think Megas threw him off. I think he wasn't sure what to do. I do think he got a good Mega. I think he wasn't sure how to draft around his Mega. So the first issue I start with good things. Urshifu plus Kartana, really, really good. Just like, unless you have an absolute crazy physical wall, those are going to kill stuff. Like Water Fighting Steel Grass Stab, those are going to kill stuff. Mega Altaria, I know people were questioning why it was tier 3, like, oh man, it's kind of bad for a tier 3 Mega. I think it's incredible. I think it's best run as a bulky support. Mega. It gets Cotton Guard, it gets Fire Spin, it gets Perish Song, it gets Roost, it can run Sweeper with Dragon Dance, it gets Earthquake for Steel types. Before Mega Evolving, it can run Cloud 9 and just ruin any weather team, because it outspeeds a lot of weather sweepers outside of weather, with the exception of like Excadrill, I think. And I mean, it's Pixelate's a really good ability with Return. I think it gets Hyper Voice, Heal Bell. Just it's very versatile. It's not the best like crazy offensive powerhouse, but it has really solid defensive stats. It has ways to boost those defensive stats, and it has recovery and a lot of support moves. So I think it's really solid. And Dragon Fairy, really cool typing. Gengar got his Grounded Poison. Given, not the most ideal thing to be switching in, but if you can get it in for free and get rid of Toxic Spikes, perfect. Ghost Stab is really good. Poison Stab is really good. Gives him a really big special attacking threat, which is huge. Milotic, really solid, gets Flip Turn, can run competitive if you want to go offensive sets and punish Defog, can run Marble Scale with like a Flame Orb and just wall offensive threats. 1.5 boost to defense is crazy on this thing. Then Snorlax for special walls, Gardevoir, really solid fairy type. Umbreon, another great special wall. Kind of passive, but now that you can use Baton Pass, can generate momentum. Honchkrow, solid. Defogger, hits surprisingly hard, gets Sucker Punch, gives him some Flying Stab, which is really good with like Brave Bird. Rhyperior gives him a ground type, and he has plenty of ways to cover grass weakness. Electabuzz, I know he thinks it's a meme pick. I actually think Electabuzz is good. Turtonator, I think, was really solid for him. Gives him a fire type, gives him a rapid spinner. Just very, very solid. Issues with this team. Same issue Zhao has had basically every season. He doesn't have anything that wants to run Defog. He has Turtonator to run Rapid Spin. Honchkrow and Altaria and technically Kartana can run Defog. None of them want to, but they can. His hazards, I think Rhyperior's his only rock setter, I think. He doesn't have any other hazards. Turtonator might be able to set rocks, but it's the same issue he's had every season, basically. Last season, he finally started using rocks, and with Bronzong, and really took some people out with it. I think he's starting to realize how good hazards are and how important having removal is. So at least he drafted some removal, which is more than I can say about his first season. But he may need to make a change somewhere to get a more consistent defogger. Other than that, he doesn't have anything that's really fast, but he does have like things that can run Scarf and are fine running Scarf, so I'm not worried about that. Other than that, his speed tiers are pretty decent. Kind of a gap between like 70 and 95. But if there's one gap that I'm okay with, it's that one, just because, or I mean, in between 85 and 95, just because there's not a lot of mons that are there. That's the toughest one to hit in terms of speed tiers. So really the issue's going to be hazards for him. Hazards for him and not having a defensive steel type, I think, are going to be the two big problems. Okay. Oh, and momentum. Flip turn on Milotic, really good. Teleport on Electabuzz, really good. U-turn on Urshifu, really good. Teleport on Guard of Wire, really good. Baton Pass on Umbreon. Like a lot of stuff he's going to be bringing every week can run Momentum. That's going to be really solid for getting Kartana in, really solid for getting Gengar in. Yeah, just really solid in general. Next up, the Driftblim. So this team, Lando, Tapu Fini, terrifying. Really, really good. Tangrowth adding to that to kind of round out that. Really, really solid. Another thing I like about this team, ways of defogging that aren't Lando. He has them. So Lando is freed up to, he can run defog on it. He can run Defensive Rocks, he can run Scarf, he can run Rock Polish, Sword Stance. He can really use the versatility that Lando can bring from week to week, which makes it a lot harder to plan around his team. He has one of the better Megas, in my opinion. I think Mega Tyranitar is really good. Its defensive stats are silly. Just like 150 defense and like 120 special defense, plus the Assault Vest from Sand. Ridiculous. Dragon Dance on that thing, I almost guarantee will sweep at least one person this season. It's just really good. Mimikyu, never been drafted before in this league. Really excited. I think it's really cool. Gives him Ghost Stab, which again is a somewhat rare thing. Very solid. Wish it got Poltergeist. That would be cool. Has a Wish Passer and another Fairy type and Aromatisse. I don't think Aromatisse is that great, but it's a tier 7 and it's a Wish Passer and it gets Aromatherapy, so it's fine. He has a really good spread of speed, plus things that don't mind running Scarf. The only thing he's missing in terms of speed is something that's like really, really fast. I think his Zelf's at 115 if I remember correctly. But he doesn't have anything that kind of hits that 120 benchmark. But Scarf Lando, Scarf Fini, Scarf Zelf are all really good. So not really concerned about that. As far as hazards go, he's got Lando, he's got T-Tar for rocks. Golurk, I'm pretty sure gets rocks. He has Lando, Fini, Rotom-Mow, I believe Moltres, I assume, gets Defog. I think Hitmonchan gets Rapid Spin, I believe. So he's got great removal. As far as other hazards, he's got Spikes. You can set up Spikes with Golisopod, which is good. But once again, no Steel type, no Grounded Poison. Two big draft sins, in my opinion, especially the Steel type. The Grounded Poison, actually, Grounded Poison would be really good because Tapu Fini hates Toxic Spikes. One of the few ways to actually poison Tapu Fini is Toxic Spikes. So not having a Grounded Poison on a Tapu Fini team is tough. Not having a Steel type is never good. So I think those are two things that the team could improve with, and honestly would patch a lot of this team's issues. Those are just not having those two types, then maybe pick up another thing that can set like Toxic Spikes or Webs. And that's really it. Like this team's very solid, except not having a Steel type and not having Grounded Poison, I feel like might come back to haunt you if you don't fix at least one of those two things. All right, next up, another one of the new players, the Uzbekistan Darmanitans, definitely in the running for coolest team name. So this team is weird to look at. I I like parts of it. I kind of like other parts, and other parts don't seem to work well with each other. Um, Starting off with what I like, Mega Medicham kills things. Like nothing switches in. Like as long as high jump kick doesn't miss, something dies on a switch, basically. Like it does like 60% to max defense Scarm or something. So nothing switching into that. Zeraora, I think, might be the best tier 2 Pokemon. That's best non-Mega tier 2. 143 speed. It's only outsped by I think like Mega Aerodactyl, maybe Mega Lopunny, and Excelgor. I believe are the only things that outspeed it. It's got ridiculous coverage. It's actually got a good physical electric move. Plus, it's got like 102 special attacks, so it can run special sets. It can run 3 attacks toxic, bulk up, choice band, choice specs. Like it's Calm Mind even. I love Zeraora. It's one of my favorite Pokemon. Really cool. Glad to see it picked up in the draft. I couldn't believe it made it through draft last season. And when the Lickilicky picked it up last season, I added a whole nother level to his team. So great pick there. Dragonite Scarm plus Primarina, really good Fairy Dragon Steel Core. Got his Grounded Poison in Venusaur, which I also think is a solid mon. I like Gastrodon. Gastrodon's cool. I really like Ice Table. Avalugg, really cool mon. Ridiculous defense. If they don't have a stab fighting type, it will wall every single physical attacker. You just run Curse Rest, never dies, until it gets breathed on by a fire special move. Like Flamethrower will just kill it, but it's a physical wall. It does what you need it to. Gets Body Press now, which is good. Gets Rocks, I'm pretty sure. It gets Rapid Spin. So I think this team has great options for both hazards and hazard removal. It can run Spikes. Got great Rock Setters. Got Sticky Web and Araquanid. Has Rapid Spin. Defog on Scarm, which Skarmory does not mind running Defog. If he doesn't want to bring Scarm one week because somebody has something with like Magneton or Magnezone, Dragonite can run it, and for 1 week, not a big deal. I think in general, really solid. Where you're gonna run into an issue, I think, is momentum. You have Primarina with Flip Turn. I think Mega Medicham technically gets like Baton Pass or Teleport, but you're probably never running that on Mega Medicham because you just want to click buttons. Zeraora gets Volt Switch, which is the least consistent form of momentum, just because ground types, and that's it. So I think momentum and positioning is going to be a challenge. Obviously, this is made up for by having stuff like Scarm, Gastrodon, Avalugg that can switch into stuff, force them to switch out, and give you a free switch afterwards. But that's something you're going to have to watch out for. Especially going to be important to keep hazards up for you so that you can punish other people trying to keep their momentum up against you. You have to make sure people don't want to switch. Other than that, again, very solid team. Well done. First draft, so honestly, like you should be pretty proud. So should the DC Driftblim, the previous slide. Really good draft. Much better than my first draft. I will never show you guys a picture of my first draft, and I'm sure Brian will show you a picture of my first draft at some point. It was god awful. I think the first week I just got 6-0'd by Brian and was very sad. Okay, moving on. Yodeling Yveltals. Mike. So I actually really like this team. This team's really cool. I think for the past 2 seasons, Mike has had some of the weaker drafts. He has changed that. This draft is sick. I know it seems low on the power rankings, but from this point forwards, we've kind of reached a point where I don't think any of the teams from this point on have a glaring or easily exploitable weakness. They just have like 1 or 2 things, or have something that's going to be an issue in half of the matchups or something like that. So things I like about this team: Fairy Dragon Steel, solid. You have 2 steel types actually, both of them really good. Paudhury, really bulky fairy. Drapion, that was a huge pick, gave you a dark and a grounded poison, 2 of my favorite things. Rillaboom, can't go wrong with something that's been in the finals both of the past 2 seasons. Another one of those mons that's just easy to use. You can just put a band on it and click Grassy Glide, and it will kill things. Heatran. I mean, we all know what Heatran does. It's really good. Can run Scarf, Specs, or really bulky and Magma Storm trap things. Beats special attacker that beats Chansey and Blissey. So that's good. It's a good thing to have. Salamence, huge pickup. Bulky Salamence is really good. I think Sam and the Beantown Bisharp showed us that last season. Important that you picked up a defogger other than Thundurus. That was really big, because I think week to week, one of those 2 things won't mind running defog, but it would have been rough having one of them always have to be your defogger. You do have other options for removal. You have a Magic Bouncer, which is good. Hitmonlee gets Rapid Spin, which is good. You also have options for setting hazards. Heatran, great rock setter. Drapion, great hazard setter. Don't know if Empoleon gets hazards. But just in general, you have good hazard options, good removal options. Your cleric options are kind of meh, but they're good enough. Like, you have something that can use Heal Bell, you have stuff that can use Wish, you have a Hatterene can use Healing Wish too, which is a nice thing to have. I think Empoleon's an incredible mon. Mega Banette's cool as hell. I'm very curious to see what you do with it. I don't really know what it does besides Prankster Destiny Bond. So I'm curious how you work around stuff like dark types with Taunt. Hitmonlee, great pickup because you have Rillaboom. Hitmonlee in terrain teams, really cool. So what's the problem that I see with this team? You don't have a ground type. Ground types are important. Kinda made up for by having Volt Absorb on Thundurus, but if I'm Thundurus and I'm sitting there looking at something like a Lando, not a Lando, like a, I don't know, Tapu Koko or Zeraora, or just something that's going to click Thunderbolt, do you really want to switch your Thundurus into something that could end up being a knockoff from Zeraora, a substitute from Zeraora, a Toxic from Zeraora, Dazzling Gleam from Specs Coco, Play Rough, not Play Rough because Coco doesn't get it, but U-Turn from Coco, just switching in because you're afraid of Thunderbolt and just getting Light Screen set up and then can't do anything to Coco. So definitely not ideal to have your only electric immunity be Thundurus. Also, because of that, rocks are going to be an issue, just because it's pretty easy to force you to have to switch into Salamence or Thundurus. And neither of those, Salamence is more fine with running Boots. Thundurus really doesn't like running Boots. It wants to run Specs, it wants to run Life Orb, wants to run Leftovers. Thundurus likes its item. That little extra bit of damage can really put that thing over the top. So that's something to think about when you're considering ad drops. Your boy Mudsdale still just sitting there. He's raring to go. I think that could actually be a solid pickup for you. I really like this team. Ground type's really the only big issue I see, and it's slow. Your team's decently slow. You have Thunderous, which what's Thunderous's base speed? I want to say it's like 101, which is fast, but when that's your fastest mon, it's tough. And obviously you have Unburden. Salamence is at 100, which is good. You have Rillaboom with Grassy Glide. So it may not seem like that much of an issue, but it may be a problem in some matchups. Just like Zeraora can run Adamant and like max HP and still outspeed almost everything on your team, that's not good. Dragapult can do the same thing. Like there's just no reason to run speed on those mons against your team, which not ideal because you want Rillaboom to be able to kill those things, and if Dragapult's can run max defense, then Grassy Glide goes from doing 40 to doing like 20. So that's an issue. Okay, moving on. Technically not a new team, but his first draft that he's doing. This is Ben with the Paudhury Poochyena. So this is the team that when I first looked at it, and I talked about the eye test earlier, scariest eye test. This team, terrifying, just absolutely terrifying. Mega Mawile, really scary. Zapdos, really good. Blaziken, biggest fuck up by your admin this season was putting Speed Boost Blaziken in Tier 3. I thought we had banned Speed Boost. Just didn't think about it. Glossed over it. And good job by Ben picking it up, because that probably should have been a Tier 1 Pokemon that you got in Tier 3. That thing, really scary. Choice Band Blaziken, terrifying. SD, really scary. I have to play you week 1, and I'm pissed. So, oh boy. Okay, yeah, I'm starting to think about what I'm going to do against that thing, and the answer is probably lose. So, but moving on, Rotom Wash, another really good Pokemon. Just solid, great defogger, one of the best. Will-O-Wisp, Thunder Wave, great support. Cresselia, another great support mon. I loved using it. I had a harder time bringing it because I already had like 3 other Psychic types, which was awkward. But things like it's got like 120 defense and special defense and like 120 HP. Like the thing's ridiculously bulky. Calm Mind sets are broken. Heal Bell sets are broken. It can set screens. Set Trick Room if you ever want to run Trick Room, which is really, really good as an option to have for Mega Mawile. And then moving on to Superior. Contrary, one of the best abilities you can have in the game. Leaf Storm with Contrary, obviously really good. Bulky Glare Sub Leech Seed sets. It's like Baby Zygarde. Really funny to switch it into defogs and get an evasiveness boost and then substitute until they miss and then sweep them. That's hilarious. Swampert, I literally like, can't talk. Really like Swampert. Flip turn on that thing, really, really good. Gives you a ground type. Gives you another rock setter. Pyukumuku pickup, really smart. One of the best counters to Blaziken, so makes sense to grab it. Scrafty gives you a dark type. Gives you Intimidate. I think Scrafty's cool. It's something you definitely have to plan for if you're facing it, but it's not like particularly threatening as long as you have a fairy type. Smeargle, I understand the draw of Smeargle. That horrible first draft that I had, I picked Smeargle. Thing is really bad. Like I don't know what to say. I think you're gonna maybe you can use it better than I could. Maybe you see something in it that I don't. I think you're gonna start building, and by week 2, that thing will be off your team. I think you're gonna be disappointed. Not being able to run Moody is tough on it. Its base stats being Booty Butthole are also really bad. Its main niche was you click Shell Smash with a Sash, and then you baton pass to something like Mega Mawile. That's banned in our league, so yeah, I don't know. Gives you a sticky way. Makes your hazards look really good. Your hazard settings really good, but I don't know. Your tier 7s, Type Null I think is one of the better tier 7s. It's a great pickup. Meowstick, it's a prankster user, so it's those teams that don't have a dark type are going to fear Meowstick because it's going to Thunder Wave everything on their team. So yeah, I think overall you drafted a very, very good team. But what's that thing that I keep saying every team needs? A Grounded Poison. You do not have a Grounded Poison. That sucks for Swampert. That sucks for Blaziken. Blaziken does not want to come in on Toxic Spikes if you're trying to sweep with it. Sucks for Superior for the same reason. Chips down Scrafty, breaks Sash on Smeargle, really fucks over Pyukumuku, really fucks over Type Null if you're not running Rest. And while you do have really solid defoggers, it's scary. Not having a Grounded Poison with stuff like Blaziken, when I see your team, I think he wants to set up and sweep. Toxic Spikes are the biggest counter, in my opinion, to set up sweep, besides Unaware. I think you need to pick up a Grounded Poison, and your team will get a lot better. So, eyeing that Smeargle slot, one thing that you could get rid of that thing for, Grounded Poison. Even getting a third tier 7 and grabbing something like Roselia could be really good for you. Other than that, I think your speed tiers are fine. You don't have anything that's super fast, but you have Blaziken with speed boost, so it doesn't matter. Superior can run Scarf, so that's fine. Superior can glare things, so that's fine. You got good momentum. One of the scariest teams to look at, just because basically anything on it can just kill your whole team. So overall, really, really solid. Moving on to the 9th place team in the post-draft rankings. The Flying type trainer. Only half kidding. 3 of his top 4 picks are all Flying type. But he got, in my opinion, besides Sam picking up Mew after the draft, the biggest steal of the draft was getting Torrentee as basically the last pick. That thing is broken. U-turn with heavy duty boots and regenerator. It will never die. You can U-turn into Chansey, Mandibuzz, Amoonguss, or Florges, and any of them will be able to eat any hit. Then Chansey can just heal up. Mandibuzz can heal up. Amoonguss has regenerator also. You can Wish Patch with Florges. You have 1, 2, 3 really good options for defog. You have a spinner, great rocks options. Your other hazards are, I believe, non-existent. I'm trying to look through them. Yeah, I don't think you have any hazards other than rocks, which not the biggest deal, but something to consider. For Alligator, it was a great pick. Dragon Dance with Sheer Force is going to kill things. I really like Boltons personally. I really like Magic Fox. Bronzong, one of my personal favorite mons. So you're hitting all the Pokemon that I like points. Mega Arrow, really, really cool. Can run Adamant against almost every single team besides ones with Aurora and Dragapult. And Dragon Dance sets with that thing are broken. After Dragon Dance, you outspeed all the Scarfers, so you don't have to worry about that. And Tough Claws, dual Wing Beat, crazy. Sucks because you have to use Stone Edge, but whatever. It'll hit 80% of the time. Won't feel like it, but it will. You have a Grounded Poison. You have one of the best Grounded Poisons, Amoonguss. Possibly the best Toxic Spike absorber, because you can come in, absorb Toxic Spikes, eat a hit, switch out, and Regenerator. So good job there. Yeah, like, honestly, the only issue I see is you might not want to bring Claydol every week, and then you won't have a ground type. But Claydol's solid, so anybody that has a threatening electric, you can bring it against, and it's fine. Only other thing, I don't like Chansey personally. It's really good, obviously, and you have the tools to stop stuff like Dragapult from just setting up on it. So it's not too concerning, because I remember a game last season where James had Chansey in and lost because Dragapult just clicked Substitute and killed his whole team. But you have plenty of options for that. Mandibuzz, Amoonguss, like Clear Smog Amoonguss, Foul Play Mandibuzz, like you're going to be fine in that sense, I believe, as long as it's not late game and you don't have chip on things. Florges even from Special Dragapult is going to eat hits. You have a Ghost Resist. You have an Electric Resist for Amoonguss. Ice type's going to be tough, but there aren't that many. Unless somebody picks up Kyurem, that'll be a problem for you, but there aren't that many great ice types. Like Ice and Rock are like the two best things to be weak to if you're going to pick, because Rock type moves all miss, and Ice type moves are usually non-stab. And those are the two types that this team struggles the most with. So, biggest issue, you have like 5 Mons with over 100 speed or something. Let me pull it up just so I can get the ranges right. So you have Aerodactyl at 150, Torntea at 121, Bolton at 121, Liepard at 106, Delphox at 104. So yeah, 5 Pokemon above 100. And on paper, you're like, man, yeah, this team's going to outspeed everything. Like, it's going to be sick. And then, like, your next fastest is Mandibuzz, but Mandibuzz isn't running speed. Your next fastest after that is Feraligatr at 78. So, anything between base, what was it, 10, like, anything, like, if you don't bring Delphox or Liepard, then realistically anything with 120 speed to like 85 speed doesn't have to run any speed against you. So they can be bulky, which can stop Mega Arrow from sweeping, can stop, I wanted to call it Totodile Feraligatr from sweeping, stop Torntea from sweeping, and your sweeping options are already limited. Your team is going to be really hard to kill. I think by nature of everybody probably being able to bring very bulky sets against you just because of your speed tiers, it's going to turn into long games. In long games where you have a bunch of flying types, it can be dangerous. You do have Regenerators to deal with that. You have Wish Passing Florges to deal with that. I think this team's really good. The speed is my only concern. It's going to be kind of awkward. Okay, moving on to the top half. First team in the top half is our regular season champion, our undefeated regular season champion last season, the Beantown Bisharps. This team, really, really, really scary to look at. Mew, there's no point in prepping for Mew. The only thing you can do is say, I'm going to bring my Dark type. Hopefully it kills it. Because Mew is the most versatile Mon in the game. Can do anything. You never know what that thing's bringing. there is a set that will be good against every single team. Gives you options for hazards if you want to run a supportive, gives you options to sweep, gives you options to just run specs and have super effective move against everything on the opposing team. Band, Dragon Dance, Calm Mind. It can do literally anything. Besides, it doesn't get Wish for some reason. I don't know why. Hoopa, I mean, hits harder than anything that's not Mega. Like, it hits harder than most things that are Mega, so that's good. 80 base speed is respectable. 4 times weakness to U-turn sucks, but you have Moltres, so it's okay. Como-O probably should have been tier 1 or 2 also. I think that thing's ridiculous. Mega Swampert, really good. There is a certain bird that I know you wish you had, which would make Mega Swampert a lot better. But you do have the weird Mime Frog Polytoad, so better than nothing. And you can always run Rain Dance sets, like if Weezing gets Rain Dance, Swampert itself gets Rain Dance. A lot of things get Rain Dance. Mew can run Rain Dance. So you have options for that, and in the rain, that is like nothing really beats Swampert in the rain besides like Rillaboom. I think Bisharp's really good. Like you have options to set up a lot of hazards and then switch in Bisharp on a defog. So I think that was a really good pickup. Moltres seems weird in the rain, you say. And then something clicks U-turn trying to one-shot Hoopa, burns itself, and you're like, oh, well, actually, that made a lot of sense. Polytoad, I mean, it kind of sucks, but like it's your rain setter, so it is what it is. Quag, great niche pickup. Gligar, really good pick. I really wanted it. Flying Ground, great typing. Great defogger, sets rocks, gets U-turn. Weezing, I know you love Weezing. Clefairy, I think one of the best tier 7s. Gets Wish Pass and Magic Guard, so literally can't be bad. Magmortar, it is what it is. Gets Teleport, which is cool. So my issue with this team is I feel like a lot of the time you're going to want to run Levitate on Weezing. I know you love neutralizing gas, so I know you'll run that some. But when you run Levitate, you will not have a grounded poison. And I don't think Synchronize from Mew activates on Toxic Spikes, though that could be really funny if you ran like a Heal Bell Mew and purposely poisoned yourself to poison everything else, but I don't think that works. Other issue, Clefairy is your only fairy type, which, you know, it's fine, but you don't really want to feel forced to bring that against teams that you need a fairy against. That's really all. Oh, other thing, your team is like really fucking slow, like slowest. I think it has the slowest Pokemon as its fastest mon. Like, I think 100 base speed from Mew is the slowest, fastest mon on any team. Obviously, this is remedied somewhat by Mega Swampert having Swift Swim, but that could be an issue. Not having anything above base 100 speed, I feel like, is going to be a problem at some point against stuff like Aurora that Mega Swampert really doesn't want to switch into. It's Grass Knot. Yeah, and the other thing, your team's really weak to Freeze Dry, but you know, like 4 mons get that, so it's not really a huge deal. Alright. New England Nidokings. This team's really, really good. I really like this team. Possibly the most snipes of any team. I know Glysaur, like half of the coaches immediately went, fuck, I wanted that when you picked Glysaur. Thwacky. Clayton really thought he had Thwacky. He was like, I may not get Rillaboom this season, but I will have baby Rillaboom. And then it was gone, and that was hilarious. I was literally talking to Sam about how I wanted Thundurus, and then like 5 seconds later, you picked Thundurus. I know Brian said he was thinking about Pharaoh Seed, and you took Pharaoh Seed. But what that means is you have a lot of Pokemon that people wanted, so it's probably good. Tapu Koko Glysaur is really good. Mega Gyarados is terrifying and gives you a Dark type. You have a Ground Poison and Toxicroak that's really good. Goodra's really nice. Metagross, I think, was a great pick. Overall, just a bunch of really, really solid picks. You don't have a Psychic type, but that's probably not an issue. Your hazards, you have great Rock Setters and great Defoggers. And you have Spikes. You don't have Toxic Spikes or Sticky Webs, but that's not really that important. Your Momentum's great between U-Turn on Koko and Glysaur, Volt Switch on Thundurus and Koko, Flip Turn on Vaporeon. Wish Flip Turn is going to be crazy. U-Turn on Thwacky. Baton Pass on Vaporeon if you're into that, but Flip Turn's better unless they have a Water Absorber, probably. Curious to see what you do with Cursula. That's one of those things that I don't really know what it does. And looking at your team, it feels like you're usually not going to want to run Trick Room, but I could be wrong about that also. So the only... Really, I don't have any glaring issues with this team. Your Fairy Dragon Steel Core is there. You have a Dark type. It's a solid team overall. Your support options, like for Cleric purposes, could be better, but that's pretty nitpicky. You're gonna have a tough time against Ice, physical Ice especially. Like Mega Glade's gonna be a big problem for this team, but that's true of most teams. Yeah, no, this is a really, really solid team. Once we're into the top 8, and even like top 9 or 10, there's no real glaring weaknesses. Now I'm gonna have to start getting really nitpicky when I justify not putting teams at number 1. So really great draft. This is a really good draft also. I think it's hilarious. Because no offense to Mad, but he has been last place in both seasons so far. And I think he's had arguably the worst drafts in both seasons so far. And then he came out with this. Like, where the hell did this come from? This is insane. Mega Deontay has an argument as the best Mega, along with stuff like Mega Scizor, Mega Lop, and Mega Gallade. Like just ridiculous Pokemon, and Mega Zard are probably the five best Megas, and ones that all in their own way could be the best one. Ferrothorn as a backup to that, insane. Ferrothorn is like probably the best Deontay counter, and you took it, so good job. Alakazam, terrifying. Can't believe it's never been used in our league. Life Orb with like 120 base speed and Magic Guard is very good. Gyarados, your classic, your kill leader, one of the league's all-time kill leaders. Very good Mon. Moxie and Intimidate are both really good abilities. Dragon Dance to Sweep, Band, Scarf. Does good things. Nidoqueen, really good, very bulky, can run Modest since it's already slow, or can run extra bulk. Sets up T-Spikes, sets up Rocks, Grounded Poison. Rotom Heat, fantastic pick. Great defogger, can be an offensive threat with Scarf, gets Will-O-Wisp. Heavy duty boots do a lot for it. It's just very good. KD, great pick. Gives you an offensive steel type, along with your defensive one in Ferrothorn. Your team's not that weak to fire with Gyarados and Rotom Heat, so you're fine. Hustle's an annoying ability, but when you don't miss, it's a really, really good ability. So, good pick there. Alolan Muck might have been your best pick of the draft. That thing's fantastic. Gives you a Dark type and a second grounded poison. So you'll be bringing a grounded poison probably every single week. Fantastic pick. Makes a lot of sense. Poison Touch is really funny. Stab Knockoff. Kills fairies. It's just really good mon. Inteleon. Really fast. James Bond. I've seen Inteleon used. I think it's with specs it's really good. Focus energy sets are fun. I think it's solid. I don't really know exactly what that thing's gonna do. Shuckle, great mon, really good pick there. Gives you more hazards. That's what it does. That's what Shuckle does. Hazards and the tank just sits there. Yeah, I don't like playing against that thing. It's very annoying. Never dies in one hit. Always gets up webs and rocks. Sucks. Haunter, I think that was your only troll pick. Like, and it's a tier 7, so it doesn't really matter. I think that thing's bad. I think it's really bad. It's not fast or hard hitting enough to justify that. Isn't tanky enough to justify Eviolite. So just kind of bad. Maybe you'll prove me wrong, but I think that was not a great pick. Hypno, I think, is really good. I think you have Alakazam, so you don't really need it. But it does get Wish and Baton Pass, so that's good for you. But your tier 7s need some work, but other than that, you're pretty set. Only concern with this team is you do not have good defoggers. Rotom Heat's obviously very good, but it wants to be able to run things other than defog, and right now you're going to have to run defog on it every week, unless you're just going to say, fuck it, I'm not removing hazards, which is dangerous with stuff like Gyarados. KD even doesn't like hazards. Yeah, your team's not super hazard weak, so it might not be a big deal, but not having a defogger, it's tough. And moving on, the Washington Weaviles. The last of our new teams, and one of the scariest drafts to look at. That Dragon Fairy Steel Core might be the best one possible. Garchomp, Mega Guard, and Scizor, crazy. Yeah, that really, really solid picks there. Terrakion, Arcanine, Slowking to round that out. Really, really, really good. You have a Sticky Webber. You have Talonflame, my favorite Pokemon. Gourgeist, which I'm still not sold on Gourgeist. I've said it's trash every single season. I'll say it again, and every other person in the league will say it's really good. So it's probably good. I just don't like it. I think Noivern was a fantastic pick. That thing can run Defog. Doesn't really mind running Defog either. Can run U-Turn. Like, it can run heavy-duty boots with U-Turn, Defog, Draco Meteor, and Hurricane, and you're all set. Like, that's really good. Getting a second Fairy type in Deontay plus a Screen Setter, really good. Golbat's very solid. So what's this team missing? Grounded Poison. You don't have a Grounded Poison. Dark type. You don't have a Dark type. Why were those the only two things that really, really, really knocked down the Corphish so far? And your team not as far? was not having two things, and yours also doesn't have two things. You have a steel type. Steel type's the most important one. Dark type, really important. You have a fighting type that's kind of bulky, so you resist knockoff. Shadow Ball, going to be an issue for you. Ghost types are going to be a big problem for you. But you have ways of dealing with that. So, all in all, the big one I'm worried about is Ghost type. But that's pretty easy to, as much as I hate to say it, you can drop Talonflame, pick up a Dark type. Only other concern is if you don't bring Noivern and you don't want to bring Talonflame that week, and either Golbat or Scizor has to be your defogger, which is not ideal. But other than that, this team is really, really hard to find a weakness in besides not having a Dark type. Yeah, Whirlpool Garchomp got me to the finals last year, so keep an eye out for that set. Beats Corviknight, really fun. Moving on into what, in my opinion, everything from this point on, I think has an argument to be the best draft. Mega Glade is, if I didn't have the first pick, or if Dragapult wasn't there at my pick, I should say, I would have taken Mega Glade. I love that thing. It's so cool. 110 base speed, really, really good. 165 attack, really, really good. Immune to Intimidate, really, really good. Psychic Fighting as offensive stab, really good. Gets Triple Axle now, incredibly solid. Gets Earthquake. Like, the thing is just so good. After a Swords Dance, it basically kills everything, and you picked up, like, two of the things that it doesn't kill, in Corviknight and Slowbro. So, like, yeah, really solid. And then those next three Mons, Corviknight and King Bro. Oh god, I don't want to play against that. Thank goodness Slowking Galar does not get teleport, otherwise that would be an absolute nightmare. But you turn into Bro, teleport into King. King just runs Assault Vest and switches back into whichever one of the other two can take the hit. That's going to be really, 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 really hard to break. Only thing that I can think of that breaks it, Ghost type. So let's move on to your next two Pokemon. Crocodile. Gives you a ground type, gives you a Stealth Rocker, Intimidate, Moxie. Crocodile, one of the most underrated mons. That thing is so, so good. 97 speed is an awesome place to be. Intimidate is a broken ability. Then you can run random Scarf Moxie, it's really good. Gets rocks. Used to be the Urshifu single strike counter because you switch it into a Wicked Blow and have Anger Point and just kill everything. Don't try to do that against Urshifu Rapid Strike, you will just die. But still a really cool mon. One of the best ones. One of the ones that's been on a championship team. Season 1, Clayton had this on his championship team, so got good history. Every team it's been on has won the championship because it wasn't on a team last season. Obstagoon, immune to Ghost type. I know that you love Obstagoon. If there's one thing on this team, besides something I'll get to later, that I think you could switch out for something else, it's Obstagoon. Everything else on this team is incredibly solid. The only thing you're kind of missing is a better fairy type than Ribombee to take hits. And if there's one thing you could switch out for that, it's Obstagoon. And I know you don't want to hear it, but that's my opinion on it. Still insane mon, Breaker, kills things, like, it's fantastic. Strongest facade in the game, I think. Entei, very solid. It's bulky, gets extreme speed, gets Sacred Fire, can run Choice Band, can run bulky, just really good in general. Ribombee, arguably the best web setter in the game. fast, gets Quiver Dance. I know Clayton swept multiple people with this before. Really good mon. Having access to webs is huge. Electivire, very, very good. Motor Drive, cool ability. I think it gets Static, maybe, which is also a really good ability. Gets access to Teleport, so it can run 3 attacks Teleport, or can run bulky sets. Really, really good. Crosslass, one of the best support Pokemon, low-tier support Pokemon. Gets Spikes, might get Toxic Spikes. Good offensive typing, can threaten stuff. Gets Triple Axle now. Gets Poltergeist, so it gets both of the new really good moves of its respective types. Really cool Pokemon too, just looks cool. But I think that was a really good pick. Now the other thing that I think you could change out on your team, I don't know what the hell a Ranguru is doing there. Like, it is your only Psychic type, but like, maybe you want to run some weird Trick Room set or something. I don't know. I don't know about a Ranguru. Togedemaru I think is really good. I think that's a solid tier 7. Gives you another Steel type if you need it. Gets the Iron Barbs, I believe, is what the ability's called. Same thing as Ferrothorn. Gets Nuzzle. Nuzzle's a really, really good move. Very good Pokemon. So this team is just going to be hard to break. Mega Glade and Krook are ridiculous. Obstagoon's very good. Rabombi, yeah, it's just a really, really, really good team. I love this team. In my opinion, it definitely has an argument as best drafted team. Moving on to my team, this one's kind of harder for me to talk about, but just based on comments last night and how everything went, this is where I think it belongs. Is top 4, but not top 1, or even top 2. Dragapult's OP. Just, I don't know what to say about it. Dragapult's OP. Excadrill's really, really good. Gives me a Steel type and a Ground type. Grabbed Sylveon for the Dragon Fairy Steel Core. Gets Wish Baton Pass, which is really good. Also, might be my favorite evolution. Really like Sylveon. Pixelate's a really cool ability. Heal Bell, like, it's just a great support mon. And then can also threaten Dragon types. Necrozma, it's Mew but worse. And Mew but worse is still very good. So it's good. It can set up, it can run bulky, it can run specs. Like, it's just very solid. Volcanion, gonna click Steam Eruption and Fire Blast and kill things. Gets Earthquake, gets Defog, and a lot of times I'll only need 3 attacks, so I can just run Defog on it. Zarude gives me my Dark type, gives me another Water resist besides Volcanion. That's good. Surprisingly bulky. Got like 105 speed, which is really, really solid. Good place to be. Coolmon doesn't get knockoff, which sucks, but what can you do? Jungle Healing, cool move, heals status. In general, just very good. Good counter to water types, which I need because my electric types are very low tier, so that's solid. Moving on, Mega Absol. From a design standpoint, my favorite Mega. I think it looks really sick. Really cool. I'm probably going to bring it like 3 times. Like, I don't know. The thing is made of paper. It has 150 attack and like really good speed. Like, it's sick. It's something that's threatening every week. I don't know. I wish it was better. I wish it was a little bit bulkier or a little bit faster. If you bump that 115 up to 120, all of a sudden it's really good. Probably moves up to a tier 4 from tier 5. Like, it's really solid then. But yeah, losing Pursuit is really what hurt it. If Pursuit was in the game, it probably arguably moves all the way up to tier 3, but you can't just switch into Psychic types and kill them 100% of the time anymore. Psychic and Ghost types. Gigalith works great with Excadrill. Sets rocks and go boom. Like, very, very good. Also, just gives me a bulky, both physically and specially because of sand. Hitmontop, Rapid Spinner, my second Rapid Spinner. Intimidates, really, really good ability. It's really hard specially, like surprisingly hard specially. Gets me every time. Fighting Stab, which is something I don't usually have, gets triple axle if I want to run that. Just in general, solid mon. Beakable I picked because I thought it gets defog. It does not. So, oopsie. Still solid. I'm still going to hold on to it for a little bit, see how it works. I've had my ass kicked by this thing in the past. It's surprisingly hard. Doesn't really have to run special attack because its base is so high and it still hits really hard. Bug and Electric hits a surprising amount of things besides ground, but it gets Energy Ball for that. Roost, Sticky Webs, I think it's solid. Raichu Alola gives me a Psychic type, Electric type. It's really fast. I think it gets Draining Kiss for some reason. When I play against the Nidokings, I don't know if I play against them. I haven't looked at my schedule too closely, but if I play against them, I can bring it and take advantage of Electric Terrain. Ivysaur, it like beats Mega Swampert, and that's why I picked it. So it's going to do what it's going to do. I don't know if I'm going to keep it, but okay, it's cool. It's just it's like got that cute angriness, so I like it. I actually ran a rain team in another league and missed playoffs because I lost to an Ivysaur in the last week and then lost a tiebreaker because of it. So that's another reason I picked it up, is because it beat me before. Okay, I don't really have much more to say about my team. I think now we're at top 2, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So what is my opinion, the second best drafted team? Zardex, really, really good. Weak to rocks, can't run boots, but not a huge deal. I mean, when it comes in, it just kills stuff like Tough Claws, Flare Blitz. Then it can roost back up. It's got bulk. Not weak to ice, which is big. I don't know. It's just a very, very, very solid Pokemon. Celesteela, really, really good too. Can run defensive sets with Leech Seed. Can run offensive sets with Weakness Policy, Automatize. Really good. Beast Boost, stupid ability, shouldn't exist, but it does. I think it's the heaviest Pokemon, so you can run Heavy Slam and kill stuff. Like, very, very cool mon. Well, not cool. I'm going to hate playing against it, but it is a mon, and it is very good. Blissey, really good. Heavy Duty Boots is huge for this thing. Access to Teleport, access to Wish. Can't run both, but can run either. I think Blissey's fat. Not much else to say. Weavile, I can't believe that nobody had this last season. This thing is insane. Like, I had Sneasel and ran through some teams with Sneasel, and this thing is literally just Sneasel, but way better. Faster, hits way harder. Ice Shard is a silly move. I think Choice Band Ice Shard, like, one shots, no bulk. Dragapult. So that's scary. Yeah, the thing's just absolutely insane. Like, if it gets off an SD, it's probably killing everything on your team. Nidoking, there's your grounded poison. Really good. I mean, it's sheer force plus every coverage move in the game, especially. Can run random, like, Toxic Spikes, Rock Slide sets too. Like, really good. Weezing Galar, it's fantastic. Gives you another fairy type. Well, it gives you a fairy type, because I don't know what Togetic's doing on this team, but gives you a fairy type. Neutralizing Gas or Levitate, depending on which one you want. Both really, really good. Deals with dragons, deals with fighting types. So, really good pick there. Will-O-Wisp is great. Gives you a defogger. Blastoise gives you Rapid Spinner, gives you Shell Smash, Flip Turn. Like, I think Blastoise is sick. I think that was a fantastic pick. I think Andrew had it last season, and I don't think he ever brought it. And I think, depending on what you're able to do with it this season, maybe make him regret never bringing it. But flip turn is ridiculous on this thing. Rapid spin is really good. Being able to randomly run Shell Smash is really good. It gives you a bulky water type. Gives you more removal for Weavile and Charizard. So, really good pick. Magic Bounce on Espeon, another pseudo removal, can at least stop them from being set up. Espeon, really good. It's fast, hits hard. Magic Bounce is really good. Sub Calm Mind is really good. Gets Wish and Baton Pass if you're into that. Ninetales, people underestimate Ninetales. Really good. Gets Nasty Plot, is fast in the sun. Its shitty special attack doesn't really matter. Really, really hard, especially actually. Like, I think special defense is its highest stat by a good amount. It's got like 120 base or something. So really good there. And you may be thinking, this team's kind of weak to rocks. Well, you have Volibee, which is Baby Mandibird, which can't run boots, so it doesn't love rocks, but it gets Defog and U-turn and Foul Play. It's Foul Play, it's just as hard as Mandibuzzes, so you're fine there. I think this thing's really, really good. Great pick again. Did really, really solid work for me in the playoffs last year. I don't know what Blossom does. I think it gets Chlorophyll. Might get Quiver Dance. Gives you another water resist. I don't know much about that thing. I'll learn more about it week I play against you. But right now, I don't have much to say about it other than probably a good pick because you have Ninetales, so you threaten Chlorophyll. I don't know what that thing's stats look like. I can't imagine they're that good, but they're probably solid enough. Then you got your signature Togekiss pick, which I don't know how much sense it makes on this team. It does get Baton Pass now, which is good. I don't know if it's worth dropping. Like, it's still a solid Mon that you can bring if, like, Volibee has a really bad matchup or something, but it's kind of just worse Volibee. But, yeah. But yeah, this team checks all the boxes that it needs to check, has all the big typings, has good rock setters, can set Toxic Spikes, got Rapid Spin, 3 Defoggers, Magic Bouncer, great speed tiers, stuff that can run Scarf, like Espeon can run Scarf, Weavile can run Scarf if you really need it to. Yeah, like not much to say about this team. Really, really good team. I'm very scared to play against it. And what I think we kind of came to the conclusion was the best draft. I don't know if everybody else agrees with me because I made the rankings myself based on what was said, so they may disagree, but this is my power rankings this week. I've got the recording stuff fixed, so we can do a full one with their opinions next week. But Megalop, another one of the ones with an argument for best Mega. Scrappy, ridiculous on it, gets full neutral coverage with its stab, so it can just run like 2 moves, Ice Punch, and then like Fake Out or U-turn. Fake Out on it, really good. Stab Fake Out is solid. It's fast. It hits hard enough. Like it's really good. Really good Mon. Immune to Intimidate now, which is great. Yeah, not much else to say about it. Just really, really solid Pokemon. Lando Eye. This thing's really good, especially because right now I think we have 4 teams that have a sand setter on them, so he doesn't even have to set the sand half the time. And even outside of sand, it's still got like 130 base special attack or something. Like, it's crazy. Gets Sludge Wave for some fucking reason. I don't know why. Really good. Can run Defog, can run Rocks, so it can be bulkier. Like, it's still pretty bulky. Just very solid. Got the Genie pose going on too, which is cool. I think that's its tail coming around the front, which looks weird as fuck, but hey, it is what it is. Haxorus, Togekiss, Registeel. Really solid Dragon Fairy Steel Core. That last pick, Haxorus, shivers up my spine. I had this thing in the first season. It tore through teams. It's so good. Hits just stupid hard. Yeah, I love that thing. It's so cool. Mold Breaker's great. You can run Unnerved, so if anything's trying to run like a fighting barrier or something to deal with close combat, doesn't work. Togekiss is going to be somewhat limited just because it's your only real hazard removal besides, I guess, Landorus, but Landorus isn't really going to want to run it. But on this team, even if you could run other things, I think you're usually going to want to run bulky support on this team anyways, so it doesn't really matter. And bulky support Togekiss is probably the best version of Togekiss, especially now that it gets boots. Incineroar, Tony the Tiger, great mon. Parting Shot, great dual stab. Intimidate's ridiculous. Yeah, can run Swords Dance, can run Band, AV, bulky, things just really, really good. Gives you a dark type, and one of the better dark types. So great pick there. Registeel, one of the few things that can switch into Tapu Lele. So there you go. AV Registeel eats every hit at least once. Not AV Registeel eats any hit that isn't Focus Blast. Yeah, you're in good shape there. That's a great mon, especially or physically bulky. Can even run like Iron Defense Body Press. I think someone ran like Iron Defense Body Press or something in playoffs and really just took it to someone else. I don't remember what exactly happened there, but yeah, I remember like a Mudsdale and a Registeel just plowing through things. But yeah, really solid mon. Jellicent, I think you've had this every season, at least for part of the season. I think you didn't have it the whole season last year. Really good. Got String Sap. Shouldn't have String Sap, but it does. String Sap's a stupid move. It's broken. Thing eats every hit from everything. It's got like crazy special defense, crazy HP, crazy bulk, like crazy defense. Hits harder than it has any right to. Just really good. Curse Body procs every single time, even though it's 30%. So yeah, thing's just a ridiculous mon. It's so good. Roserade, there's your grounded poison, baby. Love it. Great mon. Yeah, great pick. Like, sets toxic spikes, absorbs toxic spikes, gives you a really solid water resist to go along with Jellicent. Yeah, it's really cool. I think you're really gonna enjoy using that one. Great support, has actually very good special attack too, so it's a threat there. Magneton, it's great. You don't have to worry about Corpse, Skarm, or Celesteela, so like very solid. Like force those things to run a Shed Shell or something. Like yeah, it's great mon. Good job. We all know what it does. If anything, just forcing them to not bring one of their best mons when you play against those three teams is solid. So hits surprisingly hard, is faster than it should be. So good mon. Sableye, this is the Clayton Classic. He's gonna get someone with Trick Lagging Tail. He got me with it before. Thing is, it sucks to get Trick the Lagging Tail on like a Aurora or something, and just all that speed is just gone. Its only weakness is Fairy, which you have Registeel for. Not a bring every week mon, but it is a when you bring it, it's gonna do work mon. Abomasnow, you were talking about taking Thwacky, and once you said that, I felt comfortable telling you I was going to take Abomasnow, and then Thwacky got taken, and you took Abomasnow, but that's fine. Ice Shard, Grassy Glide, it's good. Can set up Aurora Veil.
typing is terrible, but can set up Aurora Veil. Like it's good enough. It does what it needs to do when you want to bring it. If you're running against a weather team, you just bring it just to fuck up their weather. Kadabra, great pick. It's got like 110 speed and 120 special attack with Magic Guard. So it's very good. It dies to like Mach Punch, probably, but you know, that's fine. You have stuff to deal with that. You have stuff to deal with priority. Not concerned about that. When you bring this thing, it's going to be a threat. Magic Guard Life Orb is still ridiculous. If you ever run Eviolite on it, that will be hilarious. If you like live a hit with 5%, that will be very, very funny. But probably just going to run like Life Orb Scarf for specs on this thing. It's really, really, really good. So that concludes the analysis. I guess the only weakness I see on this team, I guess I'll throw it out there. Your hazard removal is not great. That's really it. Hazard removal is not great, and kind of. If Registeel goes down, you're very weak. Yeah, I don't know. Like, this team's really, really, really good. I don't really see a clear weakness. It's not invincible. Like, I don't think it's a perfect draft by any means. There's ways to beat it, but I don't want to share them because I do play him, so got to keep those in my mind. But yeah, great draft, everyone. And again, if you want more in depth about why I said certain things about your team, or if you just want to yell at me and tell me why I'm wrong, DMs are open in Discord. If you want any advice or things I think you could do to improve your team, same thing. If you want to shit on my team, go for it. DM me and tell me why you think my team's trash. Yeah, all in all, great draft. Everybody has a solid team. And yeah, here's where the final power rankings for week 0, what I've got. And again, this is completely based off draft. So this is more of a how good I think your draft was. I don't think this is going to be the final rankings by any means. And next week, after week 1, we'll look at how people battle and build and be able to put together more of a real power rankings of like who we think is gonna, like what we think the actual best teams are, and take into account how well they're battling. But for now, good job, everybody. Looking forward to battling everybody except for the what are they called? The San Francisco Seismitoads and the Paudhury Poochyena. I'm very, very scared of Poochyena, and I don't want to fight a double Bro King core. So, other than that, excited to fight everybody though. And yeah,